Salutations, respected viewers. This is George from Ireland. This video is about Milo Yiannopolous, or he's more commonly known, mononymically, simply as Milo. There aren't many people around the world who are known that way. Omarosa would be another these days. Obviously, someone like Trump in the United States, you can simply know him as Trump, but he doesn't simply go calling himself Trump. Or indeed, in the United Kingdom, if he said Boris, nobody would be any doubt as to which Boris you are alluding to. So Milo is perhaps the first person to have been a YouTube star and who to have since disappeared. And when the history of YouTube is written, as it's still in its infancy, people look back to him as someone who had this meteoric rise and then he's just vanished. So Milo sunk without trace a couple of years ago, having had about 3 very good years. He's a controversialist. Now, nothing about Milo is, well, as I often say, never trust someone who can't even tell the truth about his name. Milo Yiannopolous. His surname is actually Hanrahan. All right, my surname is not from Ireland, but elsewhere in this channel I do reveal my surname, and I'm not leaving anyone under any impression that my surname is from Ireland. So I am telling that. And he used his real Christian name, so it wasn't like a nom de plume or something like that when he came up with a completely new name or a stage name. So he grew up in southern England. He's partly Greek and Irish extraction, I think Jewish as well, but I'm not sure he was ever practicing. Anyway, he pretended the University of Manchester, dropped out, and then he was sent down from Cambridge, Wolfson College. I'm intrigued to discover what he was sent down for, but we'll see. But perhaps he said that maybe it's just more glamorous than simply dropping out. So you see a certain failure to follow through there, or lack of self-discipline. Perhaps he's Haltlöser, which is why YouTube is a medium that would suit him. He was an attention-seeking contrarian. Now, attention-seeking can be a good thing up to a point. Yours truly is a bit attention-seeking. Without being attention-seeking, we wouldn't have any acting or people being newscasters and so on. I like to think I have something worthwhile to say, and I won't just say anything simply to make a splash, that I have a somewhat consistent worldview. Perhaps I'm flattering myself. Whereas this chap would take positions, I suppose, just to draw attention to himself. Now, I know it's healthy to puncture conceit, and he did that quite a lot. And he was challenging some of the moral authoritarians. He was a clown, sometimes unfunny, though, and occasionally dangerous, involved with Breitbart, the alt-right, thing is, the alt-right is obviously enmeshed with the white supremacist movement and indeed anti-Semitism. Now, he said he was gay and he claimed to have a black husband. This is an alibi, or he could use this claim of a black husband, I don't think it's ever been substantiated, to fend off accusations of racialism and so forth. So he's sort of the court jester of the white nationalist movement. A compulsive dissenter, so it would seem, because he would seem like a square peg in a round hole joining that movement. From his background, one would not presuppose that we'd be involved with them, but hey, each their own. Obviously, we mustn't pigeonhole people too much. People of any background or should be permitted to join any movement. There we are. But I, like many others, got the distinct impression that he did not believe what he was saying. And sometimes on chat shows he'd say he was a provocateur, which was half admitting that indeed he did not believe these things he was espousing. He was doing it simply to provoke people. And was it thought-provoking? Was it simply to raise hackles, to get a laugh? I'm not quite sure. Anyway, he was engaging. He was affable, and people who met him one-to-one said he was companionable, the devil in your ear. It was the consummate charmer. There was never a dull moment around Milo. So for him, his speechifying was a performance art. He really liked slaughtering the sacred cows of the politically correct movement. I thought it was hilarious sometimes when he went into some lecture hall in the United States dressed in a sombrero and other Mexican clothes and playing Mexican musical instruments, saying, "Isn't cultural appropriation great?" And to trample all over these sensitivities of some of the censorious people on the liberal left was something I had to applaud. I say that, of course, we pick and mix cultures. Cultures are not hermetically sealed. Imitation is flattery. We appreciate an aspect of another culture, so we adopt that one. and another culture will take some of our culture. There's no clear boundary between one culture and the next. They mingle in together. In the world of globalization, when people are moved around and there's lots of miscegnation, our cultures have miscegnated, if you will, and that's a good thing. We can't say, oh no, we're not going to do that. I'm never going to eat Chinese food. That's not my culture. I can't go to a beer hall because that's not my culture. You know, I'm not Scots, so I won't wear a kilt. That's not my culture, or whatever. But they can't drink Irish beer or whatever, or they're not allowed to play the uilleann pipes because they're not Irish. It'd be preposterous. So I think he overreached himself. Well, he touched the third rail. Not quite sure why he did it. And he was advocating a paedophilia. Some would say, come on, call a spade a spade. It was paedophilia. And that really proved to be the death knell of his career. And he's been deplatformed again and again. And he later tried to spin it, claim, oh no, he was only saying that some people who were abused didn't have their lives ruined for it, things like that. So he's now £1 million in debt to his own company. It seems that the good years are over. It must be going through lean times. He was someone who throve on publicity, not least in the financial sense. So he is a cautionary tale. He rode the tiger and he's ended up inside it. Controversy. He just went one step too far. How will he reinvent himself? It's difficult to see. You know, it's difficult to see how he could get on in a mainstream career. Perhaps doesn't have the attention span or the self-control to do an office job. And a lot of people would refuse to touch him because his enemies are legion. Well, that is Milo. A scintillating character. I didn't have a lot of time for him. As I say, I think sometimes he was simply being provocative. I didn't like a lot of the attitudes he espoused and saying that Trump was daddy. And the way he skewered third wave feminism, all right, I was impressed by that, and I sympathised with him on that issue. But he did point out that one of the few groups that Trump has not excoriated are gays, and it's fascinating to speculate why. But there we are, Milo. Will he rise again? I doubt it.